Right. So in today's class, we will be looking at what? Sensitivity analysis. I have capital rationing as well. But class, what is sensitivity analysis? Now, when we are talking about sensitivity analysis in capital budget, it means that a changes in the item, right? Now, when a changes in the variables, right? Now, you can agree with me that your input under the valuation is based on assumption. Is that not so? Now, I'm coming back to that side. Now, sensitivity analysis, why sometimes in real life they will tell you to create a sensitivity analysis scenario. A sensitivity analysis scenario is just like the worst case scenario, a changes in a what? In a variables. That is what it means. Now, Aishat has already budgeted that I will spend, I will spend, she will spend 50 naira, right, for this particular project. When you now do your changes that, oh, the worst case scenario, what can you have at the end of the period? You now say, oh, Aisha will get 20 naira at the end of the period, which is like an investment income, 20 naira or 20%, right? Now, that 20% that Aisha is entitled to, right? That 20%, if it is cost, you must not allow that 20% to be to increase more than that 20%. What it means is that if that project is viable, now let me use another example. You rent an apartment for labor, those who are engaged in a capital project. The rent costs 50 naira, and the sensitivity analysis is that the project will be viable, which is positive NPV. Now, when you now get the percentage of the rent from the NPV, from the positive NPV, you have 20%. Now, 20%, since it is cost, it indicates that the rent should not increase more than 20% because it is a cost. If it increase more than 20%, the NPV becomes what? Negative. That is why we call it sensitivity. And you are doing a case scenario. You have a project, right? Let me come again. You have a project that is a positive NPV, right? And okay, you need to rent an apartment for your labor, which you will use in the production. Then you say, oh, what will be the percentage of that rent in the profit, in the maximization? Oh, it's 20%. Is that not so? Now, when you now get that 20%, since that rent is a cost. Now, since that rent is a cost, right? Now, and it is 20%. Now, when you have a sensitivity analysis of 20% for the rent, it indicates that the rent should not be more than that 20%. Because if it is more than that 20%, your NPV will becomes negative because it is a cost. Class, are we getting it? Because it is a what? Is a cost that you will incur in that what? In that particular project, right? So when you are creating a sensitivity analysis scenario, a sensitivity analysis changes, a changes in a what? In a variables. You create a scenario analysis in your financial modeling that, oh, the sales will increase by 2%, right? Now, when the sales increase by 2%, you will have profit of 50%. Now, suddenly the cost actually increases more than you can see that when the cost actually increases, it will affect the profits. Is that not so? And that is the scenario we are trying to create, right? That is what we call what? That is what just understand. That is what we call what? Sensitivity analysis. What will be the percentage of the cost? It could be what will be the percentage of the costs or contribution in the what? In the MPV. Now, when you want to perform a sensitivity analysis on contribution, the question may say, oh, what is the sensitivity analysis for contribution, right? Now, contribution is like a profit, right? It's like a cash flow for us. It's like a cash flow. Now, you now have sensitivity analysis of 20%. Is that also 20%? Now, what it means is that you should not allow the contribution to fall more than what? That 20%, because contribution is like an income. It's just like an opposite of cost, right? You should not allow cost to increase. When you are performing a sensitivity analysis on cost, it should not increase. When you are performing a sensitivity analysis on contribution, on income, on cash flow, right, should not drop, because if it dropped, right, your MPV will becomes what? Negative, and that is the what? The decision under the what? Sensitivity analysis. So now we will look at the formulas for sensitivity what? Sensitivity analysis, right? Now the first one is that I actually have advantages and disadvantages of sensitivity analysis, but we'll talk about that as we move on. So number one is you may decide to perform sensitivity analysis on initial outlay. Who is that? Please mute your mic now. Mute your mic. Who is that? Moses.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, please, sorry, can you throw more light on this sensitivity analysis? I'm really not
I've
getting
done that too. You are just joining us now.
Okay, sorry, sir. Sorry dragging you back.
I've done that. So probably
Okay.
before the end of the class, please. Thank you.
It's okay,
So
thank you.
now, yeah, thank you. Now, so you want to perform a sensitivity analysis on initial outlay, right? Now, what is the formula? Is your MPV divided by the present value of the present value of initial outlay. I'll show you the initial outlay, the present value, class. Now, class, that is your sensitivity analysis. So when the question says that, interpret the sensitivity analysis of the initial outlay, or what is the sensitivity analysis of initial outlay? You know, the initial outlay is a cost, class. Is a cost that you will use. Like, it's just like your equipment that you will buy in what? For a particular project, right? It is a cost. Is that not so? Now, they say you should perform a sensitivity analysis on it. Now, present value of your MPV divided by the present value PV of the initial outlay. Initial outlay is the cost. Is that not so? Now you want to get the percentage of that equipment in the what? In the MPV, which means that when you get your sensitivity analysis of initial outlay to be, let's say, to be 20% or to be 50%, what it indicates that, right? It indicates that your what is it called? Your initial outlay, your costs should not increase more than 50%. Do you know why? Because it is a cost. You are performing, because you want to make a decision now. Now, let's say, for instance, practical now, right? Let's say I'm the head of my department, and they say, oh, IB, this is a project we want to embark on this project, or do a sensitivity analysis on a case scenario. This is the labor, this is that, right? Now, when I perform the analysis, I will now tell the management or the board that, oh, this is what I have as of now. This is the equipment. The equipment will cost 50,000 naira, right? On the MPV, the percentage is 50%, right? Now, this indicates that we should not incur, when we want to buy equipment should not be more than this 50%, right? That is what it indicates. That I will not analyze it that it should not be more than this 50%. So please, you guys should not come later and tell me that, oh, equipment is now 100,000, something that I projected 50,000. You now come back and tell me that, oh, it is 100,000 naira. You can see that it will make the cost to increase. With that, with that, the MPV will becomes what? Negative. It should not increase at all. And that is what it means, class. And that is what? That is what the sensitivity analysis of the initial outlay, right? Now, number two. Now, number two, so what is the present value? Let me show you the present value of initial outlay. We know that, but let me show you. Let's quickly go back to the first capital budget that we did. Where is it? Okay. Now, you can see this is our initial outlay, right? Which is the cost. Is that not so? Which is the cost. Now, class, it is 16 million, right? What will be the present value? The present value is that multiply the value, right? Multiply the value times, excuse me, multiply the value times the what? Times the DCF. When you multiply the value times the DCF, we give you the what? The present value. It's just like they say you should look for the present value of sales, for instance. You can see the present value for this sales now. What you need to do is that for you to get the present value of these sales, you add every sales together from year 1 to year 4. Bam. Right? Then you now use your annuity to get your DCF, or you add all these DCF together, which is what? 4. Multiply it by the total. Multiply it by the total sales. You get your what? You have your present value of sales. Present value of sales. Right? And that is the present value they are talking about. Right? Let me come again. If it is present value, right? Let's say sales, for instance, you add everything together like this. Class, you add everything together, you now multiply you add everything together, your DCF, you multiply by it will give you the present value of that sales. Or when you add your total sales in value together, you do annuity for 4 years. You do annuity for 4 years using 11%. Then you multiply, you get your present value of what? Present value of sales. Class, are we still together? Are we still together? Hello?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We are together.
Okay, that's fine. Because I need to confirm that before I actually move ahead, please. Now, if that is established, right? Now we go back. It's actually very simple. You just the analysis you just need to understand, right? Right. Now, let me quickly come there. So you just multiply this by 100, just multiply by 100, right? You get your percentage, right? You get your percentage, right? Now, the next one is if the question says perform a sensitivity analysis on variable cost, right? The question may tell you that, oh, what is the sensitivity analysis of what? Of variable cost, right? Queen, let me finish. I'm coming. Right? Is what variable cost. So we can have variable cost equals to MPV divided by the PV, which is the present value of variable cost times 100. Now, it is still the same interpretation because this is a cost. Class, this is a cost. If your MPV is 20,000 divided by the present value and you now arrive at 30%, that 30%, what is the interpretation? It means that it indicates that variable cost should not increase more than 30%. Because if it increases more than 30%, right, it could make the MPV to becomes what? Negative. Because variable cost will increase. And when your variable cost increases, it will reduce the cash inflow. Is that not so? So with that, the MPV will be what? Will be negative. And that is the what? Interpretation. Queen.
Yes, good evening, sir. Sorry to drag you back. Based on the calculation you did previously that had year one to year four, like the example you were showing rather, I would just like to confirm, do we include the year zero when we are calculating it, or we ignore that? Because year
Which year
zero,
zero? No, no, no.
year-
No, no, there is nothing in year zero.
okay,
For which one? There is nothing in year zero. It depends on the sensitivity analysis you want to do. If it is initial outlay, that is your cost. Initial
yes, the
cost
initial cost, yes.
is at year zero. It's only that one that will be at year zero. Is that not so? And your working capital. Is that not
Okay,
so? This is
okay,
at your year zero. Multiply it by the one will give you
okay,
the present value of the initial outlay. Do you
okay.
understand?
Yes,
Do you understand?
yes,
So now, thank you. Thank you. So now, when you want to perform, what will be the present value of the variable cost, right? So just add these variable costs together, right? When you add the variable costs together, you 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 do this, right? You add this, you multiply by the variable cost, or you use annuity, you get your value. You multiply, just multiply, you have the present value. You can see that they are different. You have year one, year two, year three, year four. Add everything together, add these four together, multiply it by this. It will give you the present value of the variable cost. Then you interpret it and you move on, right? It is sensitivity analysis is usually maybe 3 marks or 4 marks, and 2 marks and 3 marks now mark. Is that not so? So it's very important. Even if it is 1 mark, it's very important to us, right? Now, if this is established, are we good? Are we good? Okay. Now, if this is established, right? So we move to another sensitivity analysis, which is what? Selling price. Selling price. What is the sensitivity analysis of selling price? It will be MPV, right? MPV divided by the present value. If there is selling price, fine, right? If there is what? If there is selling price, fine. Or you use revenue, just use revenue, right? Selling price, when you multiply by the sales per unit, right? When you multiply by the sales per unit, you have revenue. Just use revenue, right? So the present value, use the present value of the what? Revenue, because when you come to this side, you will not see selling price. You will see sales, right? You will see what? You will see sales. Is that not so? Just use revenue. Sales is revenue. Is that not so? Then multiply by 100. Now, what is the interpretation? We already understand how to determine the present what? The present value. But the question is, I'm interested in interpretation. Just like case study. I'm interested in the interpretation. What would be the interpretation of this? Now, if you have, if you have a selling price of 30%. Now, what is the implication? The implication is that you should not allow that selling price to drop more than that percentage. It should not drop. It should not drop at all. Because if your revenue dropped, right, and your cost increases, what will happen to your present value? Your net present value becomes negative, right? So when you are performing a sensitivity analysis on selling price and the revenue, the percentage is 30%, right? Now it means that, see, just understand that when it is costs, class, when it is costs, it should not be above that percentage. When it is selling price, revenue, contribution, it should not be below that. It should not be below that. You understand? Understand that. Get that logic. Get the logic of the interpretation. When it is cost, it should not increase more than that. When it is revenue, when it is contribution, should not drop more than that. If not, the NPV will become negative, and that is the interpretation, right? And that is the what? Interpretation. Now, you multiply by what? You multiply by 100. Now, the next, okay, the next thing we need to, what is the sensitivity analysis of fixed costs? So it could be, the question may tell you that what is the sensitivity analysis of what? Of fixed costs. So the same thing, PV divided by present value. PV, oh, please don't write PV in exam. is what present value. Present value, you can just say let S represent, you can just make it PV is equal to present value, right? Present value of what? Of fixed cost. Of what? Of fixed cost. So anything given to you that you should do the sensitivity analysis, like this question 3 now, you can see this question 3 here, it says that it's even 2 marks. Okay, 2, this one is 2 plus 4, 6 marks. You can see calculate and interpret the sensitivity analysis, sensitivity of the project to a change in what? The changes, you can see rent of the factory. So definitely they give us rent in this question. Okay, what will be the sensitivity analysis of the weighted average cost of what? Capital. There is sensitivity analysis on that. That is, if it changes, what will be the implication, right? What will be the what? What will be the implication, right? Changes in a variable. That is sensitivity what? Analysis. When you have 50%, now you should not allow it to change, because if it change, like now fixed cost now, you should not allow it. Let's say it is 50%, right? You should not allow it to change more than this 50%. It is the change you are talking about in sensitivity analysis. If not, your PV will becomes what? Negative, because it is a cost, right? Now, the next thing is we may have sensitivity analysis of cost of capital. Let's say cost of capital, right? So the formula is you need to determine your internal rate of return minus the cost of capital given to you, right? Cost of capital divided by internal rate of return. Now, we give you what? The sensitivity analysis for cost of capital. Now, class, we already know how to determine internal rate of return, positive and negative. Now, let me quickly illustrate that here again. Don't forget that when you have positive here, just change this percentage. Now, I want to ask you a question, right? The higher the percentage, what will be the implication when you want to do positive NPV and negative NPV? Now, high percentage will give you what? Is it going to give you positive NPV or negative NPV? Lower percentage, will it give you positive NPV or negative NPV? Who will interpret that for us?
Lower percentage will give you a positive NPV and high percentage will give you a negative NPV.
Okay, that's fine.
There's an
That's
inverse
fine.
relationship between the two.
Thank you. And that is it, right? So, and that is it. We are good. Thank you for that. Now, if that is established, right? And that is, see, the whole lot of going behind everything under sensitivity analysis is calculate it and interpret, right? You calculate it and what? And interpret. This cost of capital here, this cost of capital is weighted average cost of capital. This cost of capital is weighted average what? When I said it is cost of capital, we should know that, cost of capital is equity and what? And debt, right? It is weighted average what? Cost of capital. Which other sensitivity analysis did they say we would normally say we should do again? Which other sensitivity analysis, class? Sensitivity analysis. Well, just okay, fine. Okay, which other sensitivity analysis? So, which other one? Okay, if sensitivity analysis for sales volume.
Sir,
Okay, I'm with you.
is it possible they'll tell us for tax rate?
For sensitivity analysis for tax rate, no. Sensitivity analysis for tax rate, well, they could bring it. Thank you. Yes, it's possible. Why not? It's possible. Is that also because? Thank you for that. Tax rate, it's possible. Tax rate, right? Equals to the NPV divided by the present value of the tax. Class, I know many of you will ask me, IB, what is the present value of tax? Won't you pay tax? You will pay tax now. So when you pay tax, you will not get the present value, Abi. Now this is your tax. Class, this is your tax. Thank you, Rita. This is your tax. Is that also? So they can just ask you sensitivity analysis on all these things, right? Based on see, class, understand this thing that this is a project. Now, this is a project. You present this project to investor or the board. You say this project is viable. Now, you now did a sensitivity analysis. Means that what if there is any changes in any of these variable, what would be the implication? That is sensitivity analysis you are doing, class. This is the what? Sensitivity analysis. So the sensitivity analysis is like, oh, you pay tax from year 1 to year 4. You add everything together, you add your DCF together, you multiply, we give you the present value of it. Now, when you now get, let's say when you now do the sensitivity analysis of your tax, you have like 20%. You know, tax, it is an outflow. You will pay for it. You will pay it. Now, you now have like 50%. You will now look at it that, oh, this 50%, we should not allow it, indicate that the tax should not increase more than this 50%. Because the relevant tax authority, maybe the project is in year 4. The relevant tax authority now say, oh, want to do tax audit. Bam. So this one that you paid 1 million, no, it is not 1 million, it's 2 million. Gangan. You can see that the project may likely not to be what viable unless if they will adjust a lot of things, right? And that is what sensitivity analysis. Now, the question you can say, what is the sensitivity analysis on the marketing expenses? What is the sensitivity analysis? Just understand that this is what sensitivity analysis is all about. When it is cost, it should not, let's say the cost is 20%. Oh, it should not increase more than that 20%. If not, your NPV will becomes what? Negative. Right? If it is selling price, if it is sales, if it is revenue, if it is contribution. Now, the question may tell you that, oh, what is the sensitivity analysis of contribution? We already know your sales minus your variable cost will give you contribution. Add all the contribution from year 1 to year 4 together. Is that not so? Multiply it by the total DCF that you have from year 1 to, we give you the sensitivity analysis for what? For contribution. Contribution is like a profit, a cash inflow. Now you say, oh, it should not drop more than this. If not, this is what will happen. Now, I'm done with sensitivity
Sir,
analysis. Class, you can
sir,
ask your question.
sir,
Okay?
please can you go to that last slide? I want to ask a question on the tax rate. So for
Thank
me
you.
to
I'm
get
coming.
the PV of my tax rate now, I'm going to add for year 1 to year 4. Whatever my answer is,
Eh,
I'm going to times it with my DCF, right?
yes, exactly. Just like the way you've been doing it, the usual way. Just add this. It's from year 1 to year 4. Add this together, or you use annuity to get your DCF from year 1 to year 4. Then multiply it by the total of the tax. You have your present value of the tax. You move on. Class, am I communicating? Am I too fast? Don't mind me. Am I too fast?
No.
Hello? Okay, okay, okay,
Yes.
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, no, okay. That's fine, that's fine. Just okay. What next? So, and that is sensitivity analysis. As far as I'm concerned, I'm done with sensitivity analysis. Don't forget, when I say cost of capital, is weighted average cost of capital or class. When I say cost of capital, is weighted average cost of what? Capital. Sensitivity analysis of contribution, right? Of contribution is equals to NPV divided by PV of PV of contribution. So you can add your own class. Are we good? Are we good? Unmute your mic quickly. I need to confirm that.
Yes.
Unmute your mic. Don't show me all those. Unmute your mic. Talk. Are we good? You better say what is on your mind, though.
Sir, I
I'm
don't
here.
really
Oh.
Yes, sir,
understand
we are
this
good.
cost of capital. This formula you give us on this cost of capital.
That is how to determine the sensitivity analysis. That is how to determine the sensitivity analysis. Do you get? That is how to determine the sensitivity
Okay,
analysis.
that is
Internal rate
IRR
of return.
minus cost
Okay.
of
Yes,
capital
internal
all over IRR.
capital. Yeah, the cost. Yes, divided by IRR. Exactly. When you get your positive NPV, negative NPV, minus it from your weighted average cost of capital, divided by internal rate of return, you have it. Any question? Any question? But do you know why it's like that? Do you know why? You just
No,
quickly draw my attention to something now quickly. Now what it means is that your internal rate of return is your return on investment, right? Is your return on what? Investment. Now when you minus it from your cost, the cost, including your equity and debt, what do you have? What will be the balance of your return? Divided by the return, we give you the percentage of what you have, right? Now, the question now is that what it means is that when you now have a sensitivity analysis of, let's say, for the weighted average, you have 20%. Now, what it means is that you should not allow this 20% because it is weighted average. You should not allow it to increase because if it increase more than that, what will be the implication? If it increase more than that, what will be the implication?
your
Class,
NPV will
will
be
be
negative.
will be what? Will be negative. Is that not so? And that is what it means. Do you understand? Do you understand, Rita?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, 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 okay. Thank you. Now, okay. Aishat, are we good? Wait again. Wait. Okay. Where is exclusive? Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So we move on. We move on. Please, please. If I give you anything to do, please attempt it. It's very important. Now, I will just tell you that I will just send for those who are actually attempting that questions. You guys are doing well, right? Right. It is really commendable, and I appreciate that. And keep up the momentum, right? Right. Just be positive that you pass. Just be positive. That is just it. Even my team will say, I be this is no. Just be positive, right? And we did it last diet, right? We will still do it this diet. I will still continue to be doing it, and that is all. It is what it is, right? So please, when I give you something to do, most especially all those questions in the materials, ensure you do what you attempt them, post it to the platform, we look at it together. Just like someone that actually add allocation to to a project, to a capital. No, we already know. I now explain to her, oh, allocation, apportionment should not be part of it because they are not what? They are not relevant costs. Class, they are not what? They are not relevant costs. Okay. Now, what next? Capital rationing, right? Oh, before we go to capital rationing, I think we need to look at this question together. This question is not difficult. It's just like the other one, but it's not difficult though. We already have this material already, right? We have it. Or should I explain capital rationing? Then please advise me. What should I do? Because I'm just I don't want to say I'm
Sir,
confused.
sir, what is the capital rationing under? Like, what is it about?
Oh, yes, yes. Capital rationing means that Rita, capital rationing means that are you in Lagos or Abuja first? Let me use that.
None of the above.
Lagos. Ah, none of the above. Okay, 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 okay. Let's say Rita, she's in Abuja. Let's say Rita have 100,000 naira, for instance. and Rita needs to buy wig, right? And that wig costs 500,000. And Rita have how much do you have? You have 100,000. And you want to buy how many wig? 5 wig. And you just have 100,000 naira. What will you do? Capital rationing means that you have enough, you have something that you want to do, but you don't have enough money, enough pita to do it. What will you now do? This will now take us to what we call divisible projects, indivisible projects, mutually exclusive. Don't forget, when a project is divisible, and when a project is what is indivisible, what does that mean? I've explained that in the previous lecture, and I said when a project is mutually exclusive, that is when you will now bring all those things for decision making, because you have 100 naira and you want to undertake a project that's worth 200 naira. Please, how do you want to do it? But you need to look at it mutually exclusive project. Mutually exclusive project means that it's a project that when you undertake one, you forgone the other one, right? When you undertake one, you forgone the what? The other one. Divisible projects are projects that can be undertaken in parts. You can undertake in things small, in a piecemeal. You can say, oh, Rita, since you want to buy 5 wig and you have 100,000, okay, you can buy 2 wig and leave others. Is that not so? And that is divisible project that can be undertaken in parts, right? And we have what we call independent project. Independent, from the word independent project means that it does not depend on anything. You must sometimes in a question they will tell you that this particular project, or you must execute it first. You have 100,000. You want to execute a project. I've started capital rationing, Rita. so we'll get there. So I don't know. Should we just talk about capital rationing? Then we'll now look at question altogether. I think that would be better, right, class? Are we good with that?
Yes,
Right?
sir.
So let me explain. Yeah, Moses.
I say we are good. I'm good with it. Just explain it.
Okay, okay, okay.
Question.
Okay, we look at question. Okay, okay, okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Now SFM is simple, right? So let's quickly talk about it. Let's see. Where is it? Where is it? Capital rationing. Okay.
So I hope we're on record.
Oh, yes, yes. See you. Now you wake up. They play. So, quickly, capital rationing. Okay, while I'm looking for the page, right? So I don't even need to present anything. While I'm looking for the page, now what is capital rationing? I'll explain it. Capital rationing is that means that you have, let's say you want to engage in a project and you don't have enough fund to execute that project. Class, capital rationing is a situation in which a company does not have sufficient fund to execute, right? To execute worthwhile investment, what project? Most especially a project that is what? That is viable. Samsung want to engage in a capital investment project. Samsung have a total cost of 100,000. And these projects are positive. And these projects, there are like 5 projects. And they worth for you to execute it, you need 5 million. And you have, how much do you have? You have 500,000. So how will you now execute this project? Right? That is why you will now bring in what we call divisible projects. You will now look at it. Okay, let me look at it this way. Which one is it? Let me look at it. Mutually exclusive project. If I take this, I have to forgone this. That is mutually exclusive. Or have we forgotten? Let me quickly take us back to that page. Let me quickly take us to that page, right? Now, what is divisible projects? Divisible projects are projects that can be undertaken in what? In parts. You can take it in what? In a piecemeal, right? In a what? In parts, right? Because all these decisions, they are under what? They are under investment decision. They are under what? They are under investment decision, right? Class, are we still together? Look at it. This is a divisible investment, a project which can be partially performed or executed. You can perform a fraction. Something can decide to pick half of the project and say, oh, because I don't have enough fund, let me pick small out of it, right? Because it has a what? A positive NPV. Class. Now, indivisible project, indivisible investment, it is capital rationing that leads to all those investment decision. You make investment decision, you talk about maybe you want to expand, you want to talk about the divisible investment. There is no how you will mention capital rationing without the mention of the divisible investment project, divisible, indivisible, mutually exclusive, independent, and dependent what? Dependent project. Because you'll be given a question that, oh, AA Limited have 100,000 and they want to execute a project, and this project have a positive NPV, right? They will tell you that, oh, the project is mutually exclusive. The project is divisible. The project is indivisible. It will be clearly be stated in the question for you. Now, class, it's been long I can test this part of what under the capital budget, the capital rationing of it. It belong, right? Now, if that is well explained, right? Mutually exclusive. Are you seeing it? A project which serve the same purpose and compete with one another. You choose one, you leave others. You leave the remaining one. Is that not so? That is what. Please understand this. I will not come back to this part again. Oh, mutually exclusive. If you undertake, they are related. If you undertake one, you forgot one. Divisible, fraction, indivisible. You cannot take it in fraction, right? You can't execute it in fraction. Either you take it alone or you forget about it, right? Dependent, it depends on other projects. You cannot take only one. You have project A, project B that you want to do. You cannot take project A because project A depends on project B. That is dependent investment, right? And that is, you need to understand this, so class. Now, I will explain the meaning of capital rationing. I'm coming. Oh. I've explained the meaning of capital rationing, right? Right. So capital rationing is when company have insufficient fund to do what? To execute what? To execute a project, right? To execute what? To execute project. I'm coming. Okay, now, what are the causes of capital rationing? Right? What are the causes? Wow. Ibrahim, what happened? Please pull down your hands. Okay. Now, okay. Okay, so we have the causes of capital rationing, right? What are the causes of what? The causes of capital rationing, they are soft capital rationing and what? And hard capital rationing. Soft capital rationing are caused by internal factors, right? But before I go to that part, right? Okay, that is it. Okay. Hard capital rationing arises as a result of external factor and is beyond control of management. So why don't you, what leads to the capital rationing is as a result of soft and hard. Because sometimes when you don't have a good management, you may not make a good investment decision, right? And that is why it is classified. Sometimes why you have to do divisible project or indivisible project is because of maybe communication from the management, right? So now, okay, please, I think we need to create another link, right? I think this is 6 minutes, right? So let's quickly create. So please, we have enough questions in capital budget in that material. Please attempt all those questions. They are examinable questions, right? Please. So, as I was saying that capital rationing, then the causes of capital rationing, you can see it on my screen. It solves both the internal and external factor, right? So management may be reluctant to issue additional share capital because of concern, right? Because of the gain control and all that. So we can actually read this part off, then we can move ahead, right? Right. So we can see the internal, right? That is being caused by the management, the external factor, the inflation. There may be a restriction on bank lending due to government control, right? You don't have enough money and you need to finance this positive NPV. You already borrow some loans, or you could not meet up with some government government requirements, right? Probably you don't even have audited 3 years audited financial statements itself, and you want to engage on you want to embark on a project that is positive NPV and a restriction on bank lending, right? So you can read this up so that we can move ahead, please. So there is what we call profitability index, right? I've explained divisible projects, indivisible projects, dependent projects, independent projects, right? And these are the words you will see, these are the language rather you will see in capital rationing. And I've equally explained why they are important in capital rationing. It's because of money. We don't have enough, they don't have insufficient fund to finance the project. So they need to do they need to do what we call capital rationing, right? They need to ration it. Okay, we don't have, they need to allocate it that, oh, based on what we have now, we will allocate it based on this. Oh, this is 100,000 and we have 5 projects. Now we have to ration it. Probably we give project A 2%. We will give project B 5%. We will give project Z 9%. And that is capital rationing, right? You don't have enough funds. You want to engage in a project that have a positive NPV, right? You have to ration it. And that is where you will now look at it. Oh, do we have a project that is mutually exclusive? Is there a project that is dependent project? And that is when all these terms becomes to play, right? Now, if you want to determine under the capital rationing, right, the steps in solving single period capital rationing, to solve capital rationing, the first step, the first step is to identify the year of restriction, right? You'll be given that, oh, we will look at that part as well. Coming. Calculate the NPV of projects if not given. You need to determine, what is this name? You need to determine the PV if it is not given to you, right? Now, rank all project index, rank all projects using the profitability index class. What is profitability index? When you want to use profitability index, it is calculated as net present value. You can see it in my screen. Net present value divided by the initial outlay for each of the projects. Project A, net present value. You know, if the net present value is not given to you, you have to calculate. If you want to look in a question, if you want to know if this particular question is capital rationing, it will be stated that, oh, these projects are mutually exclusive. Oh, they don't have enough money to finance it, and they have to do this, they have to do that. You should know that, oh, this is capital rationing. Under what? Under the capital what? Under the capital investments. All right. Now, you calculate the NPV, you rank all projects using the what? Profitability index class. you need to calculate profitability index. When you calculate profitability index, you now rank. Class, you now rank. Let's say you have 3 projects. You calculate the profitability index, net present value divided by initial outlay. A, you have 5%. B, you have 6%. C, you have 7%. You rank it based on what you have. You now say, oh, this is the first, this is the second, this is the third. Unless if there is a restriction. Sometimes in a question, you may be restricted that when you calculate your profitability index, you need to rank A first. Even if the A have a lower profitability index, you need to rank it first. Right? Why is it like that? Because it could be that it is an indivisible project, or it is an independent project. That is why you have to rank it first. Class. So after that, you allocate available finance or funds to all the what to projects. You allocate it, you ration it. After you rank, you now allocate it based on the ranking, just like when you are doing limiting factor. All right. Now, if a project does not require initial outlay in the year of restriction, it must be ranked first. We will get to that. But I want you to pick something from this capital rationing. You get it. It's very simple, right? You calculate the NPV if it is not given. You determine the profitability index. So when you calculate the profitability index, you will now rank. You will now say, oh, let's say you have 3 projects. Project A, you have 5%. Project B, you have 6%. Project C, you will now rank it. Oh, this is the last project have the highest profitability index. That one is first. You rank the other one second. You rank the other one third. Unless if it is stated in the question that you must undertake this project first. And why is it like that? It is because it is a what? It is indivisible project or independent projects. Class, and we will get there. And that is all about the steps for calculating capital rationing, right? So please, if you have question, unmute your mic and ask your question. Unmute your mic, please. Hello. Hello. Someone says you can't see my screen. Hello. Exclusive. Hello.